Hi guys, this is Vincent Njao from Vince Fitness team. We have a new show, we call it the Vince Fitness Podcast, and our aim is to educate, inform, and entertain our clients. This podcast is client-centric. Our aim is to empower and help the clients because we believe there is a huge gap between clients, fitness, and trainers. So we want to clarify for you to know what you need and what you don't need. Basically, is breaking down your goals and making it easier for you as you pursue fitness and health.
Always say when you're doing barbell compound lifts, I mean anything you're using a barbell, always reserve reps in the tank because of the fatigue I was talking about. But now if you are accessorizing with the machines and dumbbells, you can go all out because it does not cause a lot of damage compared to the barbell. Yeah, because if I tell you today you do 80% of your 1 RM on squats, tell you to do 15 reps, that's not a joke. By the time you're getting to your 8th, you're already gasping for air, you know. So there is where fatigue kicks in. You're just going through the movement, but you're not feeling the muscles because you're fatiguing your muscles. So you'll imagine you'll still get better results if you do low reps and then focus on high reps on these other minor
accessory workouts.
So maybe you're doing
the
squats.
Major lifts, you reduce the reps. Then for the accessory work, you can do more reps.
So if you're doing hypertrophy, I've said 50 to 70% of 1 rep mark. Play around with that number. And then from there, you can do other things. You know, if you're doing strength, play around anywhere between 75 to 95% there. Okay? Depending on how your program looks like. Yeah. And then always reserve reps in the tank. So every week you are reducing reps. So
our audience, what you can notice is that in every program, there's that priority of warming up. Then there's a working set whereby maybe you're lifting heavy or strength training in between. But immediately after that, there are some major and minor muscles accessory workouts you can do. These are like cable, crossover.
Any machine. Let's say machine came in to assist to assist you in now focusing more on hypertrophy. You see, when you're doing machines, you know you cannot cheat on a machine. It's hard for you to cheat unless you're a beginner. Because another aspect that people need to understand, for as much as you may have a neat program, a very good program based on your needs, what matters the most, it is 2 things: execution and the mind-muscle connection. So if you have poor mind-muscle connection, if you have poor execution, you're just wasting your time. You understand? Because most people I've seen in the gym, they are training very well, but they're not focusing on whatever they're doing. They having poor mind-muscle connection. So it is, again, promoting systemic fatigue. Because you're just going through the movement. You're not feeling the muscles, you're just going through the movement. Another group of people is whereby they cannot distinguish between warm-up sets and working sets. Like, you're done doing bench press, you're done doing squats. But if I ask you how you're feeling after that session, you'll be like, I had like 10 reps in the tank. So it means you have wasted your working sets. What you've been doing actually, you've just been warming up. Get?
You've not maximized.
So anytime you're doing hypertrophy, make sure either close to failure or to failure. And close to failure means if I asked you to do 1 more rep, yes, you'll have done it, but with so much struggle. So that 1 more rep, instead of doing it, you reserve it. Or to failure is whereby you're even compromising your form because you're going all out. That is how to tell if you have maximize on your working sets or if you've just been warming up. Are you together?
Kabisa. Let me ask you something. You said the workout should last between 90 to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, for instance, we have clients who work out twice a week. We have clients who work out thrice a week. it's becoming rare to have a client who's training every day.
Every day.
Yeah, it's
So we are talking-
difficult. So
For these people who are training twice a week.
there's somebody who's training twice a week, and there's somebody who's training 3 times a week.
Okay. So actually,
And they have a maximum of 1 hour.
1 hour.
Yeah.
Which is very good. If
1
you,
hour. So
if you program your sessions well, you'll find out 1 hour is enough to achieve whatever thing you want to achieve.
you'll do everything.
Kabisa. What you need to know is this: how many exercises do you need to do in a session? I always say anything per muscle. I mean, if you're focusing on chest, do only 3 exercises. Anything more than that, leave it for another session.
Correct.
So what I mean is, when you are working out, play around with your grip. You have wide grip, you have narrow grip. You have over grip, you have under grip, and you have neutral grip. So before you check out from the gym, ask yourself, I did chest today. Have I played around with my grips? I did, let's say,
Flat.
bench press.
Yeah,
Let's assume
flat-
you did flat bench press. You did, you see this grip, this is a wider grip, isn't that so?
Yeah.
You said I did my 3 sets over there. I did the right thing. I had a good mind muscle connection. I went close to failure or to failure. Good job. Have I done neutral grip? Maybe you haven't. Now look for any machine that mimics that. You can go to seated chest press. Play around with that. Or you can do cable crossover. It is also mimicking that. Isn't that so?
Yeah.
So you have changed the angles.
So
Do again 3 sets.
the goal is 3 exercises
3 exercises
for 1 muscle.
for 1 muscle.
The same applies for the legs.
Same applies for legs.
Okay.
Because again, we have things like back which has wide mini muscles. The reason why I'm saying you should do 3 exercises is because we know we have 1 million exercises for chest.
And actually, you can focus on those 3 and maximize on those 3.
You can.
Yes,
if you do
can.
them correctly, you
Yeah,
can.
you
You
can.
say, I'll do,
As opposed to 5, you can just choose 3.
don't do, and I'll say why I'm against 5.
Yeah.
So you have done 3. So maybe you have done bench press with a bar. That is strength. Or it can be hypertrophy, but I always say if it's barbell, just assume you're doing strength
True.
with my explanation, my initial explanation. And then do dumbbell, incline.
Incline.
You have changed the angle. And then do any machine that is bringing your arms together. You're meeting at the center.
Yeah,
And
those are
it
good.
could be pec deck, it could be cable crossover. If you are thinking of any exercise, it could be dips, it could be chest machine,
Push up. Yeah.
it could be push-ups. Do it for another session, because you have said this person is coming twice in a week.
Twice in a week.
So this person is training full body because he cannot train single
We
muscles.
cannot isolate. Yeah.
He cannot.
Yeah.
He can't afford to do that. Legs, you can choose again to do 2 exercises maybe, or 1. Or you can say today I'm focusing on chest, chest and maybe legs. So I'll do 3 legs,
And 3 chest. Yeah.
and then the rest, shoulders, arms, back. I'll do 1 exercises. You get Wednesday or whichever day that you're coming to the gym.
Available next. Yeah.
You say I'll focus on back, so I'll do 1 exercise for chest. Maybe I'll say I'll focus on back end, maybe shoulders.
Yeah.
3 exercises for shoulder,
3 exercises for the
for
back.
back. And then the rest I'll do single.
Single. Okay.
For Friday again, if you're coming on Friday, say I'll focus on what? Maybe I'll focus on maybe legs again or any other muscles. I'm just being hypothetical.
Okay.
You do the same, you know. So any exercise that you are to do during that session, don't make your session look like it's a junk section. Yeah? Make it simple, and it should be in a quality session. It has quality exercises. You have at least 1 exercise for compound, 1 for isolation, and 1 for endurance. So if you want to focus on endurance, I always say do body weight exercises. Focus on endurance. If you want to focus on hypertrophy, do machine. If you want to focus on strength, do a barbell.
In case you don't have accessibility to the gym, maybe you're training from home.
Or from home.
Yeah.
You just, because now
Incorporate some body weight
incorporate
workouts.
just
Yeah.
some body weight workouts. And now you can buy some bands,
Yeah.
you know, if you
Actually,
can
bands
afford.
are very good.
Yeah, band, they can mimic these activities that I've just mentioned, you know,
Okay.
and you'll still get results.
So
And that's why we have calisthenics. You understand?
Calisthenics, yeah. Full body workout. So, how long is one supposed to rest in between sets, reps?
So that's another. It's a good question you've asked because you see, people they tend to spend many hours in the gym because of this long
resting
after sets. You know.
So I've seen mostly if guys are lifting heavy, they'll tend to rest longer.
Yeah.
But for people who have approximately 1 hour in a gym and they're not lifting as heavy as
so what I normally say, here's where now the likes of supersets, trisets comes in.
Good. Let's start from let's explain what's a superset, what's a triset, then we come to the resting.
A superset is whereby you're doing two opposing muscles back to back.
Okay, so you're
doing
bench press
and biceps.
Okay.
You're doing bench press and back. So it's like opposing. You're doing push and pull. Get what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have 1 hour.
That's a superset.
Instead of misusing this 1 hour, you can now superset.
Okay.
Instead of resting, you say, I finish my chest press.
Let me rest on doing another exercise.
As my chest
is
recovers,
resting.
let me do pulls or something.
Yeah.
Get it? You can assume and do 3 exercises back to back. Say I'll do chest, I'll do pull, and maybe I'll do calves. You know, or legs. You get? So you're doing 3 exercises back to back to back.
At the same time.
Yes. So as this one recovers, you're on this one. As this one recovers, you're on this one. So by the time you're coming to your first exercise, it has already recovered. Get what I mean? And now we have giant sets. Here's where you do 4 exercises and above. So it's like a circuit.
Okay.
Yeah. You're saying, I'll do here.
I'll do lunges.
Press, I'll do lunges over here. I'll do bent over rows over here. Then here I'll do maybe biceps curl. Okay. So you're just rotating. There's no resting because when you're doing this muscle, this one is resting. And like that, and like that, and like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've explained the superset, a triset, and a giant set.
Yeah. If you have a good workout program, it should comprise of all these sets I'm talking about: superset, trisets, giant set. Yeah, because people tend to think if I do superset, I'll not see results. You see results if you're supersetting correctly.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm doing shoulder lateral raises and I do biceps curl, there's no way it will affect my shoulders.
True.
You get? And I'll still see results. Or I say I'll do shoulders. So me, how I normally do it, let me just give you a summary. Let's assume you're doing pull. Let's assume you're doing pull. Pull means back workouts. Any exercise that you're
pulling. From a deadlift,
pull-ups,
T-bar row, lat pull down, seated row. Yeah.
I'll start off with deadlifts, for instance. I'll do my 3 sets of deadlift. Okay? As I do deadlifts, immediately I'm done with my first set of deadlift. I'll do core.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do planks. You know, maybe I'll do leg raises. Maybe I'll do sit-ups.
Okay. So you'll assume that's your resting time.
That's my resting time.
So that's a good one.
I finish with my core and deadlifts. I go to maybe accessories. I decide to do lat pull down. As I do my lat pull down, I finish that. I take my dumbbells. I do lateral raises.
For the shoulders.
Not for the shoulders. I'll do rear delts.
Rear delts, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so
it's still pull. So I'll do maybe face pull, some form of rear delt exercise.
Okay.
So I'll be supersetting those 2. You know, I finish that. And then I finish maybe with seated row. I'll do biceps and I do hamstrings.
Okay.
You get what I mean? So I've done 3 exercises.
Yeah.
So when I'm done doing seated row, I'll do some bit of leg curl. When I'm doing leg curl, I'm done doing leg curl, I do biceps. So I rotate like that. Also at times, there's a time I'll do maybe deadlift and leg curl. Because leg curl is assisting what? My deadlift. For better performance. Because it's an hamstring exercise. Deadlift is an hamstring exercise. So I'll use leg curl to assist deadlift.
Okay.
You know, or I'll use core, because core, you must have a strong core if you want to perform deadlift to assist what? I can go on. If I'm doing chest, I'll do the same. I'll do my bench press. I'm done doing bench. Or I'll do bench with core.
Okay.
Because people tend to neglect core. After I'm done doing that, I'll do maybe dumbbell press and lateral raises.
Okay.
See, I'm doing shoulders and chest. It's push day.
Yeah.
I'm done doing that. I'll do maybe push-ups, I'll do triceps, and I'll do maybe any form of machine for chest. Maybe cable crossover. I've done 3 exercises back to back. Imagine I'll still see results. Okay. If people just change their mindset and focus on things they haven't tried, because maybe they're deluded, they're in this world of, I cannot do superset because it cannot work for me. Try it for even 6 weeks. You see if it can work. Because you might try it for 1 week and you say it's not working for me. But maybe it's because you haven't given it enough time to see whether
you need a good period.
Yeah, you need a period of at least 6, 8 weeks, 12. And then from there you can judge.
So back to the resting part. How long should one rest?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Between...
So you can rest anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, this is after a set.
Yeah, this is after a set, depending on how you're feeling.
Okay.
There are sets, maybe shoulders. They don't need a lot of time.
Too much rest.
To rest. So instead of wasting time when you're doing shoulder and lateral raises, take that moment and do something else like triceps.
Okay.
Yeah. So as your shoulder recovers, this one, you're working on this. But for now, compound lifts, like bench press, dumbbell press, you can take 2 to 3 minutes, depending on how you're feeling. Yeah.
Okay. Good. And so resting is optional, depending with how much time you have and how you're lifting, depending with the program. Yeah,
depending on the program, depending on if you love supersetting or not. So if you don't like supersetting, I'll say depending on the exercise.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't like supersetting, let's say you're doing bench, 2 to 3, depending on how you're feeling. If you're doing accessories, cable crossovers, lateral raises, triceps, 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay.
I believe so. I strongly believe so.
You mentioned about systemic fatigue and muscle fatigue. What's the difference?
So muscle fatigue is, you see, that time you're doing maybe lat pull down. There's a point where it will get whereby you feel like, yes, I can go an extra rep, but I'm losing my grip.
Okay.
So you haven't completed your set, but you're starting to lose your grip. That is muscle fatigue. Systemic fatigue is whereby you're constantly sore. So you're pushing all your sets to failure. So you're promoting systemic fatigue. Muscular fatigue is whereby you're out of breath. Have you been like, you're doing bench and then you'll be like, you're doing 15 reps maybe. And then you get to your 8th rep and then you bail out. You call for help maybe. And then you take a rest pause. You rest in between a set for like 5 seconds or 20 seconds. Then you get back to it because you must complete your set.
Yeah.
That is muscle fatigue. So it is not fatigue systematically. It is only the muscle that is fatigued. So if you just maybe need 5 seconds break, 20 seconds break, you come back, you have recovered, and then you continue.
So the difference is that one is shorter, the other one is prolonged.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one is prolonged. Yeah?
Exactly. One is kind of shorter, the other one is prolonged.
So the other one is calling for a rest day.
The other one you might be calling
but
for
this
a rest
one is
day,
calling for
a short moment in between. A short
moment, 1 minute or less, or 2 minutes or less. Yeah. Okay.
So basically, you can summarize it that way. And also maybe you're feeling systematic fatigue. You're only junk volumes. You're always doing junk volume. You're doing 10 exercises in a session. So you're again promoting systematic, because it will reach a point where your body will just get that which it can and then run away with it. The rest will be again detrimental.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it is detrimental and you're not listening to your body, you're promoting systemic fatigue. So that is where you'll now, sooner than later, you might get an injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's people who don't rest. They train every day. I don't advocate for that. How frequent should one work out?
It depends with your recovery. Okay. So let's assume you're training 5 times in a week. So my question to you will be, how heavy do you normally train in your sessions?
Okay.
I'd like to know the intensity and the volume. You can train 5 times in a week. No problem.
But you're giving 20%.
You're on a deficit of maybe 20%. You get? Maybe all your sessions, they're polite.
They're polite.
You're not going all out. And the easiest way to tell if they were polite, are you sore the next day? Okay. Soreness, it's an indicator that you haven't recovered well. So if you haven't recovered well, you can choose to do something else as these muscles recover. You did chest today, and then tomorrow you're feeling sore. Your chest, you're like, hey, it's crampy. Don't do chest. You have other muscles you can do. You can do back, you can do legs. You get what I mean? So it will depend with the intensity of your sessions. How heavy are you training? How many reps are you doing? Are you always doing 10 exercises and above? So if you're doing 10 exercises and above and you're constantly sore, it means you're not getting enough recovery. And what you need to do is to do a deload. Maybe you can do a deload of set. You can also do that. You can deload doesn't mean only weight. I even set it's a deload. If you're doing 10 sets, you can say, let me do 5 sets. That's a deload. If you're doing 6, let me do 3. You get what I mean? If you're doing 12, 15 reps, you can say, let me do 8 reps. So deload is universal. Deload, it's load, it's rep, it's set.
Okay.
It's frequency. How many times are you going to the gym? Maybe you need a day off in between your sessions.
In between,
If you are training 5 days consistently, you can say, let me do 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off.
Okay.
That's also a deload. And then you see how your body responds to that effect.
Okay.
Of that shock.
Also that depends with you. How you recover.
It will always depend. Are you doing hypertrophy? Are you doing strength training? If you're doing strength training, you need a lot of recovery. And that's why I say it's good to have a program. So if you're doing strength, I always say, if it's possible, your frequency should be minimum because your load is up there. If you're doing hypertrophy, your frequency should be up there because your load is down there. You get? Because hypertrophy, you can play around with so many ways if you want to achieve hypertrophy. You can say, I'll increase as an extra set in my workout. You can say I'll increase an extra rep in my workout. You can say I'll increase an extra pound on my barbell. So it depends on how you're feeling. If you're constantly sore, you need a break. If you're feeling some type of way, you're feeling like you're just overly tired,
take it slow.
Again, you need to take it slow. You get? These are the times where you need to visit a physio. You need to take a walk. You need to do some bit of cardio. You need to do some bit of mobility. You need to do some bit of all that. So it depends on how you're feeling.
Okay. Let's talk about mobility and flexibility in this effective training, because I've realized one of the most ignored but very important aspects of training is mobility. Once you can add mobility to your training, and everything will change.
For sure. So mobility, flexibility, stability, they are kind of confusing, but it's quite simple. Mobility is all about range of motion because it's joint. It's all about how well can you stretch your joint, how far can you stretch, or how far can you reach. How can you complete your range of movement? So if your mobility is poor, you realize your workouts won't be effective because you are not completing the range of movement. You get
your range of motion is limited.
It's limited. If you are supposed to bring the bar all the way to
the chest,
it's getting some few inches away. It's because maybe your shoulders are tight and they need some mobility. You understand? So mobility, think about your joints. How mobile are they? And if you have poor mobility, it's high time you incorporate some mobility in your session. Mobility, it doesn't necessarily mean you should do 1 hour of mobility. Mobility, 5 minutes is enough.
5 minutes every day.
First thing first, you come to the gym, about to grab the bar. Do 10 minutes mobility work. So instead of you doing treadmill or cardio, rowing machine and all that, I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm assuming you have poor mobility.
True.
Take that chance and do mobility. So instead of doing cardio, do mobility.
Especially, I've seen
part of warm-up.
Anytime you do mobility before let's say the major lifts, the deadlift, the squats.
It improves your lifts by far.
By far. Actually, even the warm-up, you feel like you're so ready for the workout.
Yeah.
I think mobility plays.
And also tightness within your muscles. It is out of poor mobility. No, not soreness.
And tightness. Sorry, tightness. Yeah.
Like you cannot complete range of motion. Let's say, for instance, you can't reach to the middle of your back. You know such people.
Yes.
Maybe you cannot. You cannot do what? You cannot go all the way down when you're doing squats. Because maybe your hips are tight.
Has to grasp.
It's not like you have an issue. Maybe you just need to mobilize it and you'll be good to go. You know, maybe your tendons, your ankle
mobility is not good. Yeah, it is restricting you
completing the range of movement. Maybe it is your wrist.
Hamstring.
Let's assume you're doing front squats. You've seen such people. They cannot afford to do this.
Your elbows cannot come up
because your wrist is not well mobile. So you need to mobilize
to work on wrist mobility,
so that maybe you can afford to do front squats.
Okay.
The weightlifting way.
You've told us about that's mobility.
So flexibility. Now think about your muscles. Okay? So if your muscles are stiff and tight, it could be again a flexibility issue. You get? So flexibility, it is whereby you cannot flex your muscles well. You know, when you're flexing your muscles, we have when you're extending and reducing that distance between muscles and muscles. Like you're flexing, so you have reduced the distance. You're extending, you have increased the distance. So there are muscles that
you cannot
work well when they're at an extended position, like triceps. Isn't that so?
Yeah.
You can't do triceps like this. You have to extend.
Yeah.
But the others like biceps, you have to do the opposite of that now.
This show was recorded and produced at Represented Studio in Nairobi, Kenya.